Hello, I'm Paul Wilkins. I'm the events associate from USRowing, and Jules Zane is the membership, among other many hats that he wears. He's director of memberships. So I'm going to pass it off to Jules and let him introduce the others.
Yeah, I have to do that. Thank you, Paul. Like Paul said, I'm Jules. I'm the director of member services. You'll see me at the event to help out with your registration. If questions come up, to get your wristbands, to get your packages, I'll be right there. Others on the call with us, Sarah Kupiak from Nathan Benderson Park, waving over there. Sarah, are you on a golf cart?
Yeah, sorry. I'm also the chair of my event committee in the neighborhood, and I have to flyer all these homes for an event we have coming up. So Amazing. This one's more important, so carry on.
Perfect. And then also with us, Peter, who is our chief referee for this weekend. Peter, if you want to do a quick introduction.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to our meeting here, USRowing, and we have 21 different referees that are all here to ensure your safety and your fairness and provide you with a fair opportunity to compete.
Awesome. So I'm going to screen share. If you guys want to see the next screen, and let me know if it goes to full screen once I get going here. So let me go to slideshow. Do you guys see this full screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Perfect. Excellent. So agenda, Paul, do you want to go over that real quick, or do we just want to dive right in? I can't hear you, Paul. I lost your audio.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
I think we should dive right in, but just a moment. Well, registration and venue schedule. Registration opens at 10 a.m. on Friday, and the venue schedule, we are able to practice beginning at 1 p.m. on Friday until 6, with the docks closing at 5:15.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay, we went through this. You said 10, Paul. Is it 10 or is it noon? 10 is fine with me. Just want to make sure.
I think noon. We'll push it to 10.
Perfect.
So we can get it going.
Great. Okay, Paul, do you want to speak briefly about the code of conduct?
Yeah, the code of conduct is a point of emphasis for us this year, and there'll be signage on site, but we want to make sure that safety and well-being is our top priority at USRowing, to safeguard the physical and emotional well-being of all the community members. Professionalism and integrity is also important, and USRowing expects respectful and honest communication and behavior. And the boathouse is open to everyone. As members of the USRowing community, it's critical that we model positive behavior and advance the inclusive and competitive culture we envision. Non-compliance is not an option. If a community member chooses not to follow the USRowing Code of Conduct, there will be consequences. These include disqualification, dismissal from the event, exclusion from future events, legal action, and revocation of USRowing membership. Please notify a USRowing official in the event of witnessing illegal, discriminatory, or inappropriate activity.
And I'll take this one as the one screen sharing. I can't see if there are any questions in the Q&A or not, but we'll go through the presentation first and then handle any of those if they come in. So starting January 1 of this year, we are requiring safe sport training for athletes age 18 or older. So that goes for any athlete that is, it's not your rowing age. So it's not for an athlete turning 18 later this year. It's for athletes who are actually 18 at the time of the regatta. If you are 18 or older, you have to complete the adult athlete training for safe sport. Not to make this a competition, but I've seen, it says 30 minutes. I've seen people complete it as fast as 19 and 20 minutes. You can access the training by logging into your personal account on membership.usrowing.org. And then in the menu bar, there is a Safe Sport button. You click that. And then in the catalog of courses, there's a course called the Training for Adult Athletes. It says 30 minutes. The thumbnail is a green thumbnail with a lady who's boxing. Click that training, enroll in it, complete it, because you'll need that to be compliant for this event as an athlete. If you are a coach or you are a parent with access to the doc, you should register with US Rowing. There's a link on Regatta Central for program directors and coaches to add themselves and their staff. We are asking that people who get those bands for access to that specific part of the athlete area, that they also complete the Safe Sport training because of their close interactions with athletes, both athletes they know and athletes that they might not know. If you are a spectator or you're helping at the team food tent, or you are not in another way kind of registered as staff or coach, then no training is required, and you can simply be at this event. I went over this. How do I comply? Well, in order to get a band for access to some of the restricted areas of the venue, please use the form on Regatta Central as a club. And then for athletes, like I said, you take the training if you're 18 or older. If you're not 18 yet, you don't have to take the training. And compliance with membership is simply to have a basic membership with the Regatta Package add-on, which would be a championship member with US Rowing with a signed waiver. That's what we will be checking for before the regatta. And if an athlete at the time of the regatta is not compliant, we can let you know at registration. There will be time to fix it. It's one of the reasons we're opening at 10 on Friday and have the whole rest of the day to get things sorted. We just want to leave that little bit of extra time. So if you have an opportunity to check in early, as soon as we open, or maybe into early afternoon on Friday, long before racing starts, please do that. So we don't get, caught off guard with people maybe not in a place where they're allowed to row until they fix something, and now it's Saturday morning and we're all panicking. So I want to avoid that situation. So try and see us as early as you can. We will be on site starting at 10 a.m. That's when registration opens. Peter, talk a little bit about your jury and your group.
Like I said a little earlier, my deputy chief is John Gibbs, and I know he's at least watching. I think he's having a little bit of technical difficulty, but he's at least watching. He's a very well experienced referee who many of you probably already know. We have a great group of referees who have come out for this event. And as you can see, some of them from the Southeast, the Midwest, the Southwest. We brought them in from different regions, all of them very highly qualified people. And again, we're here for everyone's safety and fairness.
Okay.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about, the referee corps in itself. And we're not looking to assess penalties. Our goal is to ensure everyone has a fair opportunity. Penalties will only be assessed for rule or safety violations, or to restore fairness. And just so you know, we're not here to correct any mistakes. We're here for those reasons and those reasons alone. And just to go into some of the things here now, what you have on your thing is the practice day traffic pattern. And I want you to know that we will be holding you true to these things. So make sure, coxswains, that you know what you're doing, coaches, that your crews know what these patterns are. They're different for practice compared to the sprint racing, compared to the time trials. And, if necessary, we will assess warnings for violations of this. It's important that your crews know where they're going when they leave the launch docks, and how they're returning back to the launch docks. To, again, all about safety and awareness. When we're launching, the athletes will be required to show their credentials in order to pass through the control commission to launch for the race sessions. We're not going to make any announcements for launching. For the tie trials, we recommend that that your crews are there no more than 30 minutes We don't want you there real early because it's going to be congested at the end of this course. And we just need to keep that in check. So we don't need them out there 45 minutes early for the time trials. For sprint racing, we recommend at least 30 minutes before the scheduled race time. Make sure that your crews have, the correct bow numbers. Make sure that your boat's going to pass safety check for bow ball, quick release shoes, because that'll all be at the heel ties, no more than 3 inches. And we're going to take care of all of that stuff at things. So please be in compliant. That's something that's easy to do when you're setting up those boats and rigging them to do that. If you're not in compliance, it's only going to delay your launch time. And we are going to run on time for this thing. So if you're and then another thing, at control, inform them if you're hot seating equipment. And I know some of the crews coming from other locations may be doing this exact thing. And so with that mentioned, when you look at these traffic patterns, a returning boat that's going to be hot seated or hot seat equipment, just so we're all on the same page. When I say hot seating, it's about the equipment only. They're going to return to the middle dock. And the teams that are coming onto the boat, they'll check in through control. So they need to be together so that they can be checked in through control, and then they'll wait for that boat to return to the middle dock. The rowers need to have their new bow number card or their bow card. The ref will confirm that all rowers exited the returning boat, that the bow card had switched, and that the new rowers launched, and then the ref will record that departure times. And just so you all know, the races are not going to be held because you're hot seating equipment. Practice. On Friday practice, they already mentioned practices from 1 to 6. The last boat, drop dead, is 5:15. Last boat is the docks will close at 5:15. There is not going to be any exceptions to that. And if traffic pattern violations, will be assessed if necessary. So make sure your crews know where they're going and how they're getting there. So when we come to the time trials, Paul, can you go to the time trial traffic pattern, please?
Just walk through it.
Or just go to the next one.
Oh, that's just through Jules. That's there.
There we go. Okay, thank you. So time trials, when you're, as you can see that now there's when you come through this time trial traffic pattern, we're going to be moving quick, and I want you to know that when you cross underneath the bridge down towards the start of this race, you have the first 100 meters to get up to speed, and at 1900's the start. And so once you cross under that bridge, consider yourself racing. There will be a referee in that area that'll direct you to the appropriate lane. And the lanes are, the odd numbers are going to be in lane 3. The odd bow cards are going to be in lane 3. The even ones are going to be in lane 4. There's 20-second stagger on these things. So lane 3 is going to start. 20 seconds later, lane 4 is going to start. And then lane 3. So it'll be a 40-second gap in each of the lanes for these races. And once they turn, once they get on their course in that lane, I don't want them stopping to adjust their seats or high five each other, put their water bottles underneath, whatever it may be. When they get onto that race course, they go under that bridge, they are racing. When we turn them up that course, they're going to start to row, and they're not going to stop until they get to the finish line. Please make sure they know that. We don't have time to ask questions or sit and daddle at that part of the race or on that part of the course. So please understand that. And if your crews can't get that through, we will pull them off. They will have to go, we'll put them back in place if they're ready, when they're ready, that kind of thing. But just know that if they're not ready to race when they enter into there, then we may move them off there and they're going to be responsible for maintaining their proper order and distance. So, you know, if those positions are delayed, we'll move them to the end of the starting order. But just know they could be penalized or excluded. A crew will be allowed to race as long as they are in the starting area and ready to race before the crew with the last bow number of that event has started. Okay, so if your crew's late and there's 10 boats in that race and they show up at 12, they've missed their opportunity there. And as long as they're there within their group, we'll let them start even though they're out of order, but please try to be there in order. We're going to move them quickly. They have approximately 100 meters to build up to race pace. The time will begin once their bow crosses the 1900 meter start line. As I said earlier, odd numbers are going to be in 3, even numbers are going to be in 4, with a 20-second gap. And if a crew is being overtaken during the time trials, they are to move to the outside lane. So lane 3 would move to lane 2. And then that crew just remains the remainder of that race. They'll row in lane 2. Lane 4 will move to lane 5, and they'll remain in that lane for the rest of that race. And just know any crew failing to yield very well may be excluded. You're considered being overtaken when another crew has moved within 1 length of open water from the crew ahead. Our sprint racing's on 7-minute centers on Saturday, 8-minute centers on Sunday. And these traffic patterns that you see posted, please pay attention to them. Please pay attention to them because we will assess if need be for traffic pattern violations. When you come to the race in sprint racing, you'll be directed to enter the course in bow order. Stay close to the start dock to minimize back and down. No more than 1 boat length away from the dock would be ideal. You need to know how to back down. So coxswain, you need to know how to back that crew down. And also you need to know how to scull to maintain a safe point. If this is not familiar to you, please ask your coach before you launch what we're talking about here. We plan to run on time. We're not going to wait for latecomers. You need to be locked on at 2 minutes, and the race can start anytime after that 2-minute warning. And just keep in mind this, you don't need to ask any of the referees if we're on schedule, We are on schedule until you are officially notified that we are not. So don't anticipate because the crew was 5 minutes behind, because we're going to, anytime we get behind, we're going to try to make it up. If you're not there, then that's going to be on you guys. So just please know that we are on time until you are officially notified that we are not. The starter and the starter alone will decide if crews are ready to race. The announce starts once the announcement starts at the start. Hands will not be recognized, or once the names of the crews begin the roll call. Quick starts. Should we need to go to a quick start, hands will not be recognized after quick start is announced. And then false starts, breakage, within the first 100 meters, just have them stop rowing, hand up, and then they'll wait for instructions, and we'll guide them whatever the starter will bring them back around or whatever they decide that they're going to do with that group. Legitimate delays for broken equipment are the crew's responsibility to inform the closest referee or the starter. We will delay the race for no longer than 1 hour after the scheduled start time for legitimately broken equipment. The breakage area is the first 100 meters of the race. Loose riggers, foot stretchers, missing hardware, jump slides, pop door lights is not broken equipment. And once we start racing, we're going down the course, the referees are not there to steer your crews. You're responsible for your own steering. Referees they'll intervene just for safety and fairness. The instruction of the referee will be done by flags. They're not going to tell them to move to port or to starboard. They'll just direct them with their flags. If there's an interference or something along those lines, they may hear stop rowing. And just know that wakes, sometimes trailing crews are going to get waked. If we're going to have to move to the front with these boats and they're wakelesses, but they still might cause a little bit of an issue. But just know the trailing crews may get waked. When they approach the finish line, row through the finish. Referees will check to see if everyone's okay. They'll raise the white flag. The race will be official. One thing, we see it all the time, and coxswains let your crews know, coaches let your crews know, when they cross that finish line, do not lay down in their boat. They lay back in their boats, and if they do that, we'll assume that they're sick or they're injured, and we'll assume that they are in need of medical attention. So tell them, sit up at the end of that race. Any objections on the water, hand up as soon as you cross the finish line, and the referee will come over to discuss it with you. If it can't be resolved on the water, in your package, you see the protest requirements, and they can do that. It's a $50 check, and that time starts once they hit the return dock. But they must be logged on the water. Objections must be logged on the water at the finish. And there's no exceptions to that. First aid. There's almost always there's always a first aid medical help right at the finish. Also, again, at the return docks. The recovery docks have medical assistance right there at those docks. I'm going to work with them and Sarah as far as possibly getting somebody down at the start, one of the EMTs or the people assigned. Maybe we can get them down on the start. It's much easier when we're working on the 2,000 meters than being in the water, where they need a boat to adapt. So if we can get one of the EMTs or one of the paramedics, the professional people down at the stop, we'll do that. So you'll have them at the finish, you'll have them at recovery, and hopefully we'll have them at the start. The EMT station closes to the recovery docks and the finish, or is close to both of those things. So they're right there. Should anybody need help, let us know. If your rowers have asthma problems or they use inhalers, please have them stick them in their unis or in the leg of the uni or something. I can't tell you how many times we have someone with showing symptoms of asthma where you ask them where their inhaler is. Oh, it's in my backpack on the shore. Again, we have the appropriate people there to help them, but it sure makes a lot more sense if they have what they need should a situation like that arises. We'll monitor all the weather conditions. Please just follow the instructions from the referee in case there's schedule changes or evacuations due to weather and that type of thing. Again, we'll notify that and the referees will guide it. And then the last thing I have is on drones. There is no unauthorized drones permitted. That includes your family members, your team members, those kind of things. No drones. It's a critical issue for rower safety, and a violating team may be disqualified. That goes for the friends and your family members and coaches. However you use to contact your team and family and those types of whatever means of communication you have, please communicate to them that no drones are allowed on the race course. And please ask them not to violate this rule. And that's pretty much everything I have as far as that goes. And we can just move through it, the rest of it, if you like.
Yeah, I just want to jump in real quick and emphasize that we had an issue at the Central Youth Regional over the weekend where people decided to fly a drone And it was reported back to us as certainly being a distraction for other crews. And so I want to certainly emphasize what Peter said, that it's just really unfair to other competitors for someone that you know or someone on your crew to fly a drone overly close to you. And we will assess those kinds of penalties. It's something we take very serious for the safety and fairness of the event. Sarah, is there anything you want to add at this point?
Talking to Sarah Kupiak or Sarah
Yes,
McCullough?
no, yeah, Sarah Kupiak, yes, you.
No, I was just going to reiterate the asthma and making sure that the inhalers are kept in the boat, because that is very important, and we see that more times than we hope. So please, coaches, make sure they have their inhalers. And like they said, medical attention is always available at launch and recovery and the finish line. There are tents at both locations. And, you know, the Florida sun is a lot hotter, so please stay hydrated and make sure they're wearing sunscreen. Even in April, we did have a couple of cases of dehydration and heat exhaustion. So it's a little hotter down here than it is up in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee. So just stay hydrated. And we will have a water monster on. So your water can be filled up at that location tank with multiple spouts on it.
Great. Thank you. Well, I want to jump to the Q&A. A couple questions have come in that I think are worth answering here. Peter, this one's for you. How would someone be notified if the regatta was behind schedule? You mentioned earlier to assume that it is on schedule unless told otherwise. If that happens, how would people be told?
Well, Jules, are you going to have any kind of communication through the teams? How are you going to communicate to your coaches and things as far as that goes for any changes in the regatta schedule? I know there's several different ways we can approach that.
Could I jump in on this?
Yeah, go for it, Paul.
Last weekend at Centrals, we had a phone text tree that worked really well. We were able to contact everyone, and so I'll build that for all those who entered the regatta. So all the entrants, and I assume most of them were head coaches. Most of they will get a text from me testing the system, and then that's what we'll use for any announcements that need to be heard widely.
Perfect. Thank you. Paul, to follow up with you, when will the race schedule be posted?
The race schedule's on Regatta Central and Here Now. At the moment, there are some tweaks. I made one mistake. The actual draws, I hope to finish them later. I have to, the person we had doing it couldn't make head nor tail of the seating information we got. So I'm going to try to do that this evening as the evening wears on, and should be up late tonight.
Okay, thank you. Are we using the alphanumeric bow numbers for sprint races?
Yes.
I believe.
Okay, and what that means, and this goes, by the way, both for this goes for the alphanumeric bow numbers, is that you receive them at the dock when you launch, and they will also be taken back from you there. And Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, but for the time trials, the teams will receive packages with all the bow markers for that day, and we ask that those are returned at the dock as well when the team is done. But for the time trials, you will receive all the bow markers you need when you register at the registration desk.
That is true.
Are we using a starting flag, or will we be using the lights that are available?
We are using the light system, Sarah, right? Correct. We're still going to use the light system. That's what we originally spoke of, and to my knowledge,
Correct.
that has not changed.
And, no, we are still using that.
Perfect. Should anything happen with that system, the referees will go to the more traditional flag start system as far as that goes, with the announcement of the crews, attention, with a pause, go. If we have to drop back to that, that's what we'll do.
Okay. Sarah Kupiak, while we have you for a question here, there's a question is there a time that is too late to bring a boat into the venue on Friday? And will there be security at the venue through Monday morning? So essentially, what is the window for people to bring equipment in and to leave again?
Yep. So yes, we will have security every night during the event and through Monday. So no problem there. So if you do have to leave a trailer, I just ask that you send me a text message so I know what to expect on site so I can give them a heads up. Some people like to leave early on Monday morning. If that's the case and security needs to let you in, I will need to notify them. So I don't know if you can I'm on my phone and I don't know how to do that, but put my phone number down in the chat. I think I can do it. I'll put my cell phone number in here. If you are arriving outside of the times in the packet, then please notify me so that I can either, if I'm there and we can assist in parking you, or if there's security there and I have to notify them that, I have trailers coming in later on, then I can explain to him where they're going to go as well. So not a problem if you're running late and coming in later on Friday.
Okay, great.
Just let me know.
Perfect. Peter, actually, is the sprint race traffic pattern essentially the same as the time trial traffic pattern in terms of warm up?
Well, it is a little bit different. So if you look at it, you'll see it's just basically
We have that
on the warm up
a
side
slide.
of the course, where it changes a little bit. So when
Okay, let me
they're
do the
rowing
screen.
down to and circling around for warming up, compared to going down the other way. So
Let me
I
see.
don't
Give me 1 second here. Let me see if I can screen share to that or not. Give me 1 second, guys. In the meantime, let me actually ask a question for Sarah. Sarah, will there be parking passes for coaches and then simultaneously car topping parking and parent access to the island? And is there parent access to the island or is that restricted to the West Shore? So basically, what's the parking setup, and are parents allowed to spectate from the island?
So parking will be located on the island. Parking is $10 per vehicle. On the island, there is a north lot at the roundabout closest to the park that will have directional signs to that lot. And there will also be parking at the south end. We will have a trolley that will be continuously going from 6 a.m. until 6:30 p.m. on race days, or 30 minutes after the last race if it changed. And then on Friday as well from 12 till 7. And like I said, it's $10 per vehicle. The island is fully open to spectators. We do ask that you stay out of the athlete area. There's barricade fence around the athlete area for a reason. And so we please ask that you just stay out of that area. And if there's overflow parking at the south, the trolley will be continuously running.
Okay, great. Let me give the screen sharing another go and see if I can get these up.
The patterns are different from time trials to race day.
Yep.
They're essentially the opposite of each other.
Okay, so so here is the time on screen, Peter, if you can see this. Here's the time trial screen. And then there is the race day traffic pattern. Can you describe the difference? Can you point that out?
Yeah. Okay. So starting with the time trials, Jules, if you could get, okay, you got
Yep,
that.
there you go.
So you'll know they're coming off 2 docks. The middle dock will be for hot seating equipment. The 2 docks closest to the race course is where they'll be going. So when they launch, there's going to be 2 lanes, one up against the attenuator and then the other one to the outside of it, to the east of that lane. So they're going to row down on the lane that's on the outside or the east side of the course. Now, if they want to do a lap as far as warm up goes, there's going to be a place, there'll be a referee in that area that allow them to turn and row back down the attenuator side and then turn again and come up. And then that time they'll probably be getting up there, go under the bridge. Keep in mind the time trial, we are going to be moving quickly. They're not going to have a lot of time to get out there and do laps on this course to get that done. They're going to get up, they're going to move them under there as quickly as we can and send them down the course. When you look at the, Jules, if you go to the race day traffic pattern.
Yep.
When you look at that, you're going to see that they're going to come off the launch docks. They're going to come off of that and they're going to row down towards the start on the attenuator side. So it's just the opposite. They're going to make the turn if they want to do a lap, and they'll come back that way and they'll rotate through the schedule that way, or through the course. So they're both the opposite. When they come down, they'll be put into their groups. Alphanumeric, please have your crews know what their bow numbers are, what their event is, and what their race time is. It's just when you ask them those questions, they don't have those answers. It just takes more time on our part to get them organized and chase them down. With the alphanumeric bow cards, makes things a little easier because you can group them a little better. But please make sure that you're well informed as to what event you're in, the time that your event is, and your bow number. So that's the traffic patterns as far as they go. Practice patterns are a little bit different. And let me just get to that one. You know, basically on the traffic side of this thing, they're going to, or on the practice day, they're going to row down along the attenuator, turn themselves onto the race course, and they're going to row down in the course one direction and then back the other direction. Should they do that? By all means, they can come all the way around, row down the course, come around the island. And another thing that you need to know when we're talking about these traffic patterns and traffic pattern violations is that they are not cutting between the Crew Island and Bird Island. They're not cutting between those two. They're going to row around the outside of Bird Island back to the recovery docks that way. If they do cut that gap, they'll be turned around and possibly assessed, you know, whatever appropriate penalty that referee decides to. But please pay attention to the patterns. When they come around, they're not cutting the gap. They're going to go around Bird Island and back to the recovery docks that way. They'll use those two. So they have that option where they can come around both islands, back down the course, and then race back down and do those laps that way, or they can lap it on the lanes themselves, as you see in that traffic pattern.
Okay.
If
Thank
I may, one quick thing, I'm going to post these slides, all these slides, not just the traffic pattern slides, but I'm going to post all these slides onto Regatta Central tomorrow.
Perfect. Thank you.
Couple of questions. Peter, will there be a horn at the finish? I assume that's the question specifically for time trials.
There is a horn at the finish. It's not so much a horn like you're used to. It's the finish tower horn, and you'll hear that as the boats cross the line. There's also a flag that's on the flag will be on. It's not at the finish tower. It's on the beach in front of the finish tower. But all of that's done from the tower and the chief judge.
Okay. I'll take this one. Do athletes need to add on the regatta package if they are basic USRowing members? Yes, that's correct. Yes. So either it needs to be a regatta package add on to your basic membership, or, and let me start video so you guys see me, or if they are championship membership members, that works as well. where will the results be posted? As they get approved or as they become official, results are on Here Now. So they're on herenow.com. You select the event and you go from there. So herenow.com will have all of it. They will not be on Regatta Central being linked back. So that's where you will see the results. I see we lost Paul. We were lucky to have him when it started because Paul was on a heavily delayed flight and calling us from the airport. So the question was, when will we get the heat schedule as to who is in each heat? Well, that usually gets posted once the schedule is confirmed after time trials. So we're going to run the time trials. The time trials will determine some of the following seating. And so kind of as soon as the time trials are official, eventually the schedule and the heats get loaded in. So time trials first before we know who head-to-head races who. We will be posting the 3 traffic patterns online. This will be part of the slides, which is one of the requests here. Peter, do you know top of your head how many boats are in the finals? 6?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think we're going to be running six lanes, but there could be situations that, you know, where we move a boat to restore fairness or add them to the, you know, that type of thing. So that's where I'm at. And I just wanted to mention one thing about the time trials. When they're racing the time trials, there is not going to be a horn or a flag at the finish of the time trial. So please, when your crews are going, just row all the way through the orange buoys into the area where the finish marshal is. There won't be a horn for every boat passing them. They're going to be every, you know, 20 seconds or so. So you won't see a horn or a flag for the time trials. On all the racings, you'll have both.
Yep. Question was, when will events be removed from the schedule that we won't need because of the number of entries? Paul said he is working on doing that tonight. So hopefully by tomorrow, a better, more up-to-date version of the schedule will be available online. I'm not sure. Someone said, will any of the races have a race for lanes? And if so, when will we be able to see it on the heat sheet? Well, I think all events are going to a time trial. And so that would be the race for lanes. So if you run a time trial, the results of that time trial will determine your race will determine the way your final or your race is done. Let me go back to the top. Peter, and this is also, I guess, for Sarah. Will the lights be running on Friday during the practice session? And perhaps separate, we got a couple of these. Can we describe the starting light system for teams that don't row at Benderson very often?
Sure. Sarah, do you want to answer at least the first part of that?
Yes. So the lights, I'm not very good at describing this. You know, I might actually have a video that I can provide as well that we just did for, it will be separate from using the boots, but basically the referee calls out all of the teams. And Peter, if you're not going to be doing it this way, just let me know or let everyone know, but they usually call out all the teams by lane, and then they say attention, there's an invariable pause, and then they hit the horn and the siren sounds. Is
yes, yes, the lights. So when they come in, they're going to come into their stake dock, get their positions, and the normal procedure, or what everybody's used to as far as the roll call of the crews. They'll do that, and then you'll hear attention, and there's lights for the 2-minute warning, and it's a yellow flashing light. You know, once we're into that area, then they know the announcement of the crews, and then they'll hear the same command after the announcement. It'll be attention, and there's no flag in this at all. and then the starter will hit the button, which will sound a horn, if you will. The lights will change from red to green, and the race will begin. Should there be anything going on in that first 100 meters, also another horn will sound. And to answer the previous question to that, there is no light system for practice on Friday. In fact, you're not going to be starting practicing from the stake docks at all anyways. They'll be able to row up and down the course, but not allowed to go into the stake docks for Friday's practice.
Question for Sarah, and actually a question for Sarah first. I'll go to this one. So Sarah, where would someone park that is car topping? Can they park near the trailer parking? And then a couple of questions about are there parking passes for the coaches available that essentially waive the cost, or is there just a daily fee of $10 per car per day, and that applies to everybody? Basically, how is the parking cost kind of done?
Sorry, I did realize that I didn't answer that question entirely. The car toppers will park down between the boat trailers that will be there and the existing racks that we have in the field. If you guys are familiar with our site, you drive down the Palm Tree Road and then you would take a right into the boat trailer field. You're kind of going to go straight to the left a little bit with the car toppers. So we will have someone there to direct you for that. We typically give out 2 passes per team. And so we'll give those to USRowing so that you guys can distribute them with the packets that they pick up on Friday. And then the teams can distribute them how they see fit.
Thank you. Paul, glad you're back.
Cash, I think.
Yeah, sorry.
Our parking company does accept cash or credit card.
Okay.
They have that ability now.
Yep. Paul, glad you're back. I think I gave people the wrong answer, and certainly the entry packet is above anything that I just said. The entry packet talks about 7 people in the final if an event has 14 or less entries. Can you talk us through the number of people in finals based on entry level?
Let me look at the entry packet real quick so I'm not leading people astray. I know there are some 7-boat finals, yes, but I think if there are semifinals, it's 6-boat finals. So I think for events that go to semifinals, they're going to be 6-boat finals.
Okay, so a 6-boat final if there's a semifinal. If there's not a semifinal, it's a 7-boat. And confirm that in a second. I'll jump to a few other questions. 1 or 2 for Sarah here. Sarah, the drop-off area for athletes, where is that going to be?
That will be located in the north parking lot. And so, Paul, I'll just confirm the site plan tonight or first thing tomorrow and get that over to you, that you can post on Regatta Central as well, that will show the drop-off and the island layout.
That would be great.
And then a quick one, Sarah, to follow up, the parking passes that include, do the 2 parking passes have to include the trailer vehicle?
The food trailer?
No, like the trailer towing vehicle, the one that brings the trailer into the boat area.
Yep, it's just 2 passes per team.
Okay. Peter, this one's for you. If a team is short on time, can they do half laps in the warm-up area? Is there a cut through at some point?
No. If they're going to do that, they're going to have to row down to where they can cut through. We're not just going to allow them to turn anywhere they want and change course as far as that goes. They're either going all the way down, or that's if you look at the traffic pattern map again, you'll see there are breaks where they can turn. But again, just keep in mind, we are not going to be if you're late for your race, you're late for your race. Plan
Okay.
accordingly.
Okay. I'll take this one. It says parents who are not coaching and we may be carrying oars. Do we need to take the training? Yes. So if you're planning on carrying the oars all the way to the dock access is only for staff or support staff or coaches that have registered. And with registering comes the requirement to take the safe sport training. What I wanted to emphasize and didn't say earlier is that we introduced something this year exactly for parents and for support staff who are otherwise not coaching. And it's a membership option that's at no cost to you. So if you don't have a US Rowing member number yet, which is what gets you free access to the training, you can go to membership.usrowing.org. Under individuals, you click join. And as your membership option, you select the volunteer option that's $0. It doesn't provide you or anyone who selects that with any sort of eligibility for anything else than the safe sport training, but it does give you free access to that instead of billing you for any sort of cost, which is what we wanted to avoid. So if you are registering to assist at this regatta and you want dock access for carrying equipment or other sort of coaching or support, you will need to complete the training to be compliant.
If I could just add in there, please keep, when your crews are bringing their boats out onto the dock, we don't need 5 other people out there carrying oars. Keep that number down to as minimal as possible. I know with some of the larger boats, you may need 2 people to carry oars. Have your crews ready to go so that we're not picking up their laundry or their shoes and things like that off the dock. It's all a safety hazard. The docks are plenty wide. They have plenty of room where we can put 4 boats on those docks should we need to, as long as we don't have 15 extra people on the docks carrying oars or picking up laundry and that type of stuff. So please keep that in mind. The quicker we can get through control, the quicker we can get out, and the more likely we are to be on time.
Can I also just add, we did have an incident where with a volunteer, please keep your oars away from the control commission tent and away from the medical tent. We always have an issue with crews just dropping them right there. But we did have someone get hurt because they tripped over oars at a recent regatta. So we will be sticklers, especially our medical staff, about keeping things away from that medical tent and control commission tent.
Okay. I'll take this one. So to clarify, parents, if they are volunteering or supporting the team with equipment or otherwise, are allowed in that area to do specifically that, and we are asking them to register. What we're certainly asking people to not do is to be in the athlete or in the boat area just because they're spectators and they want to hang out with their kids. At that point, you're certainly in the way of the activities of perhaps the team or other teams. And so keep that to a minimum. Like, please don't abuse the parent or the support staff registration system as a method to get more parents closer to their kids for longer at the regatta. You're going to be in the way. And if a team is registering way more people than they have athletes or anything sort of other out of the ordinary amount, we will certainly cap it at some point because that's not what it's meant to be. And yes, the spectator area is close to the finish lane or for the finish line, and people can be close to that and record people going by, watching the race, all that. To emphasize it again with recording, please don't use a drone. The parking passes, Sarah, where are they handed out? And if people are arriving on venue, where would they be for sale? Could you clarify that?
Yes, parking passes will be given out with US Rowing registration on Friday. And you purchase the ticket, you purchase the parking pass as you come on site. We don't have pre-sale for this event.
Okay, perfect.
Does that
Peter,
make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Peter, and we're coming up on 9 o'clock here, so I'm going fast through the last few questions. Peter, how does a crew know where the turning points are in the traffic pattern?
They'll be well defined. You'll see the gaps in the pattern. It's buoyed most of the way down. They're usually marked with, and Sarah, please help me on this. They're usually marked with big offshore buoys that you'll see those big yellow or orange buoys.
Yes, yellow or orange, large tetrahedral triangles.
Okay. One last one, or Paul, perhaps the thing for you to correct. Currently, the men's youth final appears twice in the Here Now schedule under two different event codes. Can you, if you want to take a look, do you happen to know if code 82 or code 118 is the correct event? And if not, it might be good to check that and make sure it's correct tomorrow morning when we finalize more of the schedule.
Yeah, I said that there were a couple mistakes, and
Okay,
you know, they're
perfect.
coming to my attention, and I'll make sure that they're corrected as soon as possible.
Okay,
Maybe
perfect.
before I go to bed tonight. Yep.
Okay, good luck. One last question here, I think a really good one, and it's for Peter. Where should crews line up at the bridge to then enter the stake boat area? Kind of time, placement, how do you want to do that?
Sure. As I said earlier, you need to launch probably 30 minutes prior to your race when we're doing sprint racing. No more than 30 minutes, a minimum of 30 minutes before your race. That'll give them time to practice, do a lap or two, and then they're going to be down on the east side of the attenuator, not on the race course side, the opposite side. There'll be a marshal right there. Organize them into their groups, into their races. They're going to then be sent under the bridge to the start as they're called in. There'll be a start marshal on the bridge, bringing them in bow order. So it'll be lane one will be first, and so on and so forth, so that when they come in, they're not rowing across each other. So they'll have several marshals before they get down to that area that'll be helping them out. They'll be keeping track of who's rode by them, where they're at in the course, and then we'll have a marshal at the very end just before they go under or are turned over to the start marshal, and so they'll be well informed at that point. Tell them, within 10 minutes of the race to check in with the marshal down at that end of the course, and so that they're not rowing around and getting lost. And because we're not going to go look for them. It's their responsibility to be on time for their race. They have up until 2 minutes before the start of that race, and we are going to do everything in our power to make sure that race goes off on schedule.
Okay, great. It's 9 o'clock. Peter, Sarah, Paul, thank you. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. If there's anything else, send us an email. I apologize for losing light over the course of the meeting. I just moved and I had not quite located my desk. But I think thank you guys for being here. We look forward to seeing everyone in Sarasota in the coming days. Send us an email if you have any other questions. We will be posting this recording as well as the presentation slides online. And like Paul said, the correct schedule or the final schedule adjusted for the number of entries and such will be up. I think tomorrow, and everything will be. I see him nod, so everything will be there then.
Yes.
For now, again, thank you for being here tonight. Have a great evening, and we'll see you guys in Florida in a few days.